GD, and there you can see Italy and Ravenna, and on the other side of the Adriatic is the Istrian Peninsula, or Istra as I like to call it, the old country. It's where my parents come from. But what's going on here? So from Ravenna to Istra directly by sea, looking about 136 kilometres. So it's no small journey. What's going on? But Istrian limestone. Well, that's basically what made Venice. So also they got their timber from there, but Istrian limestone, beautiful limestone, very famous. Istra Peninsula is a big giant slab of limestone, essentially. And why is it so important that it's 136 k's, about 88 miles from Istra? Well, let's go look at Ravenna itself. We close in on the town, and there we can see I've highlighted the Mausoleum of Theodoric from 510 AD, pardon me. And there is this canal that was built, but the canal leads almost all the way there. But this canal wasn't built until the 1800s. They had a few rivers gathering there. There would have maybe been a waterway, but that canal that you see now is not an ancient system. That's an important feature because the Mausoleum of Theodoric, when you look at it from the outside, well, it's no megalithic aspect. Oh, that's just right. There's no lost ancient high technologies. It's just Roman stuff. Okay. Well, if you take a look inside, well, for one thing, they have a porphyry bathtub, sarcophagus damaged. That was probably of the Imperial Roman period, and Theodoric, because by then it was the Christian time, he had repurposed it probably. Not too sure on that, just a guess, because that's a very Imperial Roman style, both the purple porphyry and the style of the bathtub itself. But that's not the important part that we're looking here. And I go, oh, that's just small little rectangular blocks. Well, again, a lot of these blocks that the Parthenon's an example I bring up often, they are not just normal rectangles. They are well-fitted stone, and when you put a square to them, you'll find that each block has to match with its partner, that they're each fitted stone. But that's not the important part either. What's important is what's up above it. There's the ceiling directly above it. Notice you see any, well, there's the inscribed, there's a early cross there, but what's going on? That's one giant piece of stone, of Istrian limestone no less, with a diameter of 10 metres or 33 feet. That makes it 230 tonnes, and for those who are got used to the lost ancient high technology way of looking at weights, that's 507,000, 507,000 pounds. Okay, well, it's 230 tonnes, but you look at the list of the moved monoliths, not the stones that are still attached to the earth or never moved an inch from where they began. This is a Mausoleum of Theodoric is about 11th on the list. And, in Axum, they got 1, 2, 3 there. So let's put it at 4. We'll add another 3, 14th on there. Still amongst the biggest, heaviest stones ever moved. And with a few exceptions, look, the Egyptian stuff, okay, but it's a roof slab. It's not a stone that was always like to be on the ground and then lifted up. Because if you're moving something along the ground, it's the weight's not so much of a problem. The problem of moving something along the ground is the friction. But this had to be actually placed in a high location. It's not, for instance, the menhirs or the trilithon stones, which were Roman, or the large blocks in Egypt. They were not lifted up high. They were like you could just move them along the ground. They never went into it. So this is the heaviest roof slab, single piece from the ancient world. So this adds to the problem of it. It's not just moving along the ground and then having to shift it on one side to take out the rollers, tip it over, shift out the other side. This has had to be placed up in the air. But this is not a problem because you build a ramp. Ramps work. Don't forget what Graham Hancock tells you about 10 degrees and all this nonsense. And then he says, well, it's the rules of science. This guy knows nothing. Actually, he does know, but he just keeps shilling this information because it will just undermine his previous work. So even I'm making a fuss of it, but it's not a fuss because to get it up high, well, you just build a ramp on the outside. Just again, it's not a fuss. And it was transported in a straight line across the Adriatic Sea, 136 k's. If you were to do that and transport it by land, well, I don't know, that'd be going to 500 k's or even more. Is that about 300 miles? Probably much more than that because you can't just. There wasn't a nice motorway where it was just one big sweeping bend. There was all little turns that had to be made, and well, they ship things. Big weights like this on old-fashioned ships can be moved. Again, if you've heard Lost Ancient Art, but the boats and the dinky little boats and they couldn't move it. Absolute garbage. Like, again, just so separated from the truth. Can't even say non-research. It's just invented. It's an invention that they make up to sell this. It's impossible. It's impossible. Can't be done. Wood's going to crush. The ropes would snap. This is all just ridiculously false. You can check out the strength of fibres and you can check out the strength of timber on engineering sites upon which insurance companies and building regulations base their specs. So, literally it's a matter of life or death that people get this right because otherwise buildings would be collapsing. So just again, forget all of that lost ancient high technology stuff. People with primitive technology, and then we'll say, well, Mausoleum of Theodoric, that was 500 AD. They weren't using modern tech in 500 AD. They weren't using modern tech in 1700. We're still using ancient technology. Places in the world, they're still using ancient technology because modern stuff's too expensive for them. Labour's cheaper than what it is to move over. So we got one of the largest monolith ever actually moved. Egyptian stone, very short distance from the quarry, a kilometre or two, even less, because you wait for the flood, and then a kilometre or two, or even much less than that, from the river to the actual site. So the river or the ocean journey, sea journey, is not the problem. It's really the overland which is the issue. And again, Mausoleum of Theodoric, because this canal, it's like 9 k's from the port to get in there. Now, even if you drew a line straight to the coast from there, you'd still be looking at about 6 k's. So that journey, not including from the quarry in Istra to the port in Istra, and then just the portion from the Italian coast to its site that it is now, is longer than any of the monoliths moved across land in Egypt. And again, Egypt from the river, it's all very flat land. It's not. They're not crossing mountains or anything like that. Neither are they really here in Ravenna either. But the ocean journey doesn't matter. Once it's on the boat and it's floating, it's no works to be done from that point. It's the land journey that really counts. And just like the obelisks, well, this is again outdoes any of the other moves before. Even the Baalbek move is 0.8 of it, like half a mile, something like that. So this journey across land, which is the journey that counts, was hugely important. So although modern people selling ancient aliens, lost ancient high technology, I'm putting those two together because both of them selling the same thing. Ancient alien says it can't be done by humans, therefore extraterrestrials. Lost ancient high technology says it can't be done by ancient people, therefore advanced Atlantean / lost civilization. What they want you to believe is that our ancestors were useless fools. This is just ridiculously untrue, insulting it is to our, to you, not to your ancestors, but to you. They are insulting you because they're saying you couldn't do this. With wood and rope, our ancestors made a world. Lost ancient high technologists, ancient aliens, they're either lying or they're so incompetent in regards to not only research but any sort of practical skills. Have they ever got a callus on their hand? I don't think so. Ever swung a hammer? I don't think so. I've made the joke before, these guys would need to call roadside assistance to change a radio station on their car. They are so technically inept when it comes to these things as well. So our ancestors did it. They did wonderful stuff. They can do it. We could, God forbid, the system collapses and we don't have the internets anymore or the factories stop working. We're going to have to go back to this. And those people who know how to make rope, use rope, know how to cut and shape wood and use basic leverage and mechanical advantage principles, they're going to be gods amongst men. What do you want to be, the servant who looks and sees a guy lifting a heavy stone and thinks it's magic? He's some sort of wizard shaman from the Zep Tepi period of the gods? Or do you want to be competent as a person and not be bamboozled by people doing essentially tricks into making you think that they're magicians so that you will serve and obey them? This is what's really horrible about, again, ancient aliens, lost high technology. They're stealing your birthright. They're passing this on to children so that children think that they're incapable of these things. And again, there's nothing nice. And after years and years, they still say the same things, even though they know them at this point to be untrue. It's not even an argument of it's a character issue when it comes down to this. And all I can say is, shame on the History Channel and shame on those who promote this, and would be glad to see you feeling helpless and useless, and would make your ancestors look like loincloth wearing primitives, as they like to call them. The only idiot primitives are the ones who are promoting this stuff and pointing at stones saying, look at it's a mystery. No mystery. SGD, have a good one. Always remember, you can do it. You can do it. Don't listen to any of these knuckleheads who tell you that you can't, because they're making money while they're dumbing down the population. Have a good one.